Howdy, it's the Batman Cave Podcast, and I'm your host, Bat, aka Scott Johnson, and it's my man cave. On this show, we talk about stuff that interests most guys, like video games, guns and shooting, movies, TV shows, product reviews, and so much more. You're definitely in the right place if pinning recipes on Pinterest just ain't your thing. Hey, we're glad you're here. So yet again, we've created a new video game series called Co-op-palooza. We're pretty excited about it. In this 3-part series, we'll be talking about our current favorite co-opable video games, along with sprinkling in a few classics that are on top of our all-star list. But before I do that, I'd like to welcome our co-host, Mr. Jason Lowman High, and the brand new face of the Sith, Mr. Kylo Ron Neese. Welcome, gents.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here, and I'll try to be on my best behavior so that I don't start feeling my esophagus closing up over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Force works in mysterious ways. So.
Yeah. Well, I'll just I'll keep that in mind. And I think this is going to be a pretty fun series here. I know for us in the last couple of years, our gaming group of guys has pretty much been engaged in the co-op game realm. We started off with our little community primarily, playing first-person shooter, competitive games most of the time in private type of parties, and every once in a while we would, we'd actually step out into the public world. But definitely in the last couple of years, we've really started to kind of like heavily gravitate towards co-ops and play
as our reflexes declined.
As your reflexes declined. But there's been a bunch of really, really good stuff that's come out since then, and I think it's worthy of our mention here in this 3-part deal. So to our guests who are here in the cave with us during this podcast, you may hear games that you might have played before. You may hear games that you've never heard before, and you might hear some games that you've heard of, but you've just never really given a try. If you've got a co-op game that you've played that we do not mention, I invite you to leave a comment on the website by clicking that episode and go to its page, this episode, and leave a message at the bottom. We'd love to see what games you've been playing co-op wise. I'm sure I can probably speak for the both of you guys on this, but I think some of the best times that I have had in gaming is when I play with a friend as a teammate. Y'all pretty much agree with that, right? I mean, come on, it's just some incredible fun to play with guys.
Yeah, we've had some good times, no doubt.
Whether you're going through a story mode together or defending against a horde or whatever, it's just pure fun to experience that with friends. Moments immediately come to my mind, and I kind of jotted these down because these are just like in the co-op universe for me. These are some moments that I will never, ever, ever forget. The one for sure is playing with Ron through Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, where you could play, co-op two Splinter Cell guys, right? And I would be like crouched and, we're trying to stay quiet, and I'd be crouched and trying to investigate something, and all of a sudden my controller would shake just a little bit, and I'm like, what in the world? And I would hear like, either like something hit the ground or like a tin can, and Ron's just over there just laughing his butt off because he just basically picked up like a rock, or a can and thrown it at the back of my head. Because you could do that to distract, the bad guys, right? And so he thought it would be hilarious to pick that up and throw it at the back of my head. And I just had to like completely, die laughing too, how great that is of a, that you can actually pick up a rock and throw it at your teammate. And that's some like really, really funny moments. Probably the funniest moment though, quite honestly, is playing with Mr. Lowman, playing through Mercenaries 2, a fantastic co-op game, video game. That's older than 3 years, but it definitely is, in my opinion, high on the list of co-op games. But that game was just so much fun that I cried because I was laughing so hard at so many of the moments where, Jason and I would...
The Devastator.
The Devastator. Finding the
Devastator.
Remember the Devastator? Oh, man. Ron probably didn't finish this game. Did you even play Mercenaries 2, Ron?
Oh yeah, on the 360.
Yeah. The Devastator was like one of the side missions you had to go and find, and you thought, man, this thing's going to be awesome. I can't wait to find this thing. And it's a moped, basically, like a moped scooter. And to see Jason ride that thing down the street was way too much. Way too much.
That's awesome.
That game was really fun because, you could go in and the whole game was destructible, environment. It was incredible. You can go to an oil refinery and blow up the whole stinking oil refinery. You can bring down skyscrapers. And we had a lot of fun doing that. But probably my favorite part was whenever, you'd be on a dirt bike and he was actually on the back of the dirt bike with me. And we're just like, going up the mountainside there as fast as I can. And I am like knowing that I'm gonna drive this sucker off the ledge, and right before I do, I'm gonna bail off this motorcycle. And when I did, the scene of just seeing the back of Jason's head riding the back of that motorcycle over the cliff was, I mean, I just don't know if there can be a moment to top that ever.
Yeah, I didn't really think that was very funny.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't.
I think Ron can agree. One of our great moments was playing Grand Theft Auto 5 with Eric. Is that Ron?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're gonna say.
We had Ehan up at the plane, way up, I don't know, 40,000 feet up near, and we were helping him out with the buttons and the controls, and well, we told him Y would change the camera view, which was actually bail from the plane.
Yeah.
That was great.
Oh man, my stomach was in pain. I mean, just agonizing pain from laughing so hard because you see his guy, he goes through the whole animation of the door lowering down in the stairs and his guy just nonchalantly walking off the plane.
Yeah, that was classic.
No parachute or nothing.
Poor guy.
It was incredible. I love that.
And that's the great part.
Fall guy.
That is the great part about co-op, open world type of games like that, where the campaigns themselves are great enough, but there's just the flexibility and freedom to kind of wander and roam and just have fun in doing that. And that makes a game, in my opinion, it makes a game, the longevity of it, like triple the amount of what it would normally be. And there's something about going through a campaign by yourself, which is really cool. But doing it with somebody else or multiple people is just like, exponentially better, in my opinion. But definitely some good times. So for the first series, first part of this series, part 1 here, we've pretty much all agreed upon one of our very favorite co-opable games that we have played in the last 2 or 3 years, and that game is called Dying Light. It's from the developer Techland, and it came out, I can't believe this, I saw this today, it came out in January 2015, and we just kind of stopped playing it like just a couple of months ago. That's how incredibly awesome this game is with the DLC and stuff. A couple things about the game. Techland, they developed the game, but they originally developed a game. We have to nod to this game because this game really started the whole premise of Dying Light. But Techland created a game called Dead Island. Now they had Dead Island 2 came out, but Dead Island 2 was not a Techland production. They did not produce and develop that game. Deep Silver was they were the group that published both of those games, but Techland did the first one, but they didn't do the second one. Ironically enough, all 3 of us actually played Dead Island together, and that game. First of all, the premise of the game.
Does Jeff not count? Brother Tubbs?
Did he play at Dead Island? He didn't play Dead.
No. I'm sorry. I was talking Dying Light.
Yeah. We're playing Dead Island. We'll get to that.
Okay. Okay.
So Dead Island is a scenario where a virus is released upon the resort island. It turns everybody into zombies except for you, and you start out in this hut. And the only thing that you have outside the hut, you hear these zombies and stuff. You have to leave and go to a certain place. The only thing inside the hut that you have to defend yourself is a boat oar, and that's it. And the game is a open world game. You have to traverse obviously this whole open world to figure out the hows and whys of the story and yada yada yada. And there are regular level zombies. There are higher level mutant type of zombies, and just a lot of fun. You could drive cars. You could drive any car that you wanted. There was explosive stuff. This game was, for us, the three of us, we played this together, was so much fun. And if you even halfway like a zombie game, this is definitely, it's just like, super fantastic. So even if you halfway like it, you're gonna love that game. So we have to nod to that because that was Techland's first zombie game of this magnitude. And Dead Island 2, they did not develop that, and eventually they walked away from Deep Silver, and then all of a sudden we hear they're going to make Dying Light. And Jason, I remember you telling me, hey man, you got to watch some video in this game and yada, yada, yada. And I wasn't really like into it. I guess I just didn't realize it was the same guys at the time. But you remember that, and you telling me that I needed to watch that video? And
yeah, well, the video showed all the parkour that was really new to the game.
Well, and I tell you, and maybe that's a thing is we can there's Dead Island was great, but Dying Light is how you could think that game could get any better, how Dead Island could get any better, and they actually did it in Dying Light. It's incredible. So we'll stop talking about Techland, stop talking about Dead Island, and we'll go ahead and talk about the thoughts on Dying Light. First and foremost, it is an open world first person shooter game, but as you just said, there's parkouring in this game, and that's kind of key to how you get around Dying Light, the first Dying Light, not the DLC part, but the first one, because you're in a city, a town area, and you're on foot. So this game starts off with you have to build up your physical abilities to get better, but man, the first beginning of it is just brutal because it takes all your energy to swing whatever weapon you find, and you wear out quickly. Your parkouring stinks. Getting up on a dumpster is hard.
Yes,
it's tough. It's tough. Mm-hmm. Some people
the guy moves really slow.
Yep. And some people have a hard time getting past that. We've had some friends of ours try to play it and go, man, this is, I've got like a tire iron and I swing it 3 times and there's zombies everywhere, and there definitely are. But this game, I don't remember Dead Island making me feel this way. And the three of us have talked about this before, but I don't remember Dead Island making me feel as scared and as anxious as I have been playing Dying Light.
Well, that's another thing. I mean, aside from the parkour that they added to Dying Light, I mean, just the overall tone. I mean, Dying Light is scary.
Yes.
Dead Island, had this kind of tropical, everything, bright and sunny, and still had the zombies and everything, but it didn't have that eerie, the lighting from Dying Light and the nighttime, daytime, nighttime cycles, and all that. So that Dead Island wasn't scary to me at all.
Yeah, it was almost more novelty, because in Dead Island, you could actually fashion different weapons using the same weapon you had. If you had a boat oar, you could actually eventually fashion that boat oar into something else that would do more damage or electrical damage or fire damage and that kind of stuff. And you know, this is the first time I'd ever kind of really played a game like that. You know, which I thought was great. And Dying Light obviously has that as well, but there's just so much more. And you just kind of mentioned, you know, the probably the biggest part of the game is that they do have a night and day a cycle. So when the day is up, your little watch goes off, alerting you that night is coming up. And what happens in this game is that when night starts, these like super zombies called volatiles, they come out only at night because they're sensitive to UV rays. So they don't come out during the day. You can actually have a little UV flashlight that we've used before. And it's like, it really like basically stuns them for like 2 seconds. But you'd obviously, you know, sound is a part of the game, right? I mean, you can't make a whole lot of noise at night. They'll hear you. You can sneak around if you want to.
Yeah, if you shoot a gun or throw, you know, a grenade or something, then you are going to have the horde on you.
Yeah. Yeah. And even using like a light or something. I remember the first time.
You know what I mean, Ron?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put your gun away, Ron.
Some people don't know the word
your light
stealth.
machine gun.
I remember the first time I played that episode where, because in the campaign you have to actually, it forces you to go at night, you know, so that you can kind of know what you're getting into if you choose to do it. Because you don't have to. If you can find a safe house, you can sleep through the night. You don't have to tackle the nighttime stuff. But if you do, this is what you're going to get. And I remember that first campaign. I'm literally trying to run back to the base in pitch black and like not being able to see anything, you know. And
oh, that was awful.
Oh, it was horrible. And I finally hit my flashlight, and I was literally running in place because I was running into a stupid light pole, going nowhere. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing. What? I just remember my butt puckered the whole time because I was so stinking scared. I mean. And then I remember the first time we played with Ron, co-op wise, and you mentioned Mr. Tubb, and those guys are like, you know, you and I are like standing on the gate of a safe house area, and those two are like, they're just like running out there by the gate, you know, tempting fate, and like over and over and over, they're getting put down over and over and over. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? This is, this is like kids play here.
Well, you know, that's another thing though about this game that's so cool. Just shows how far, you know, co-op has come. As you know, before a lot of the, you know, earlier games of co-ops, you know, you'd be kind of tied to that person, you know, and if you got too far away, they would rubber band you, you know, bring you next to the guy that's hosting or whatever. But in this game, you know, all four of us, we could be clear on different sides of the map, you know, in different buildings. And, you know, I mean, that was sometimes a chore to be like, you know, where's everybody at? Let's get together here. But, you know, you could kind of, you know, scavenge on your own and then just catch up and still have that freedom.
Yeah.
Like you're by yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's truly open world. And then, like you said, if you've got four, you can, it's up to 4-player co-op. If you have all four of you in there, yeah, I mean, you can just split up and do whatever you wanted to do, you know, kind of until you get to a point where y'all had to be together for the story, but you can teleport to one another at that point. So,
yeah.
But
well, isn't that what we'd usually do? Is we'd get to the, you know, the main storyline, and then everybody would have to get there, and we'd all look around and where's Tubb?
Right.
Where's Tubb?
Yeah, no doubt. I'll tell you, another part of this game is the scavenging. You know, you get used to doing that in like BioShock and games like that, where you just wanted to look at every little ashtray, every little trash can, every little, you know, desk, every little closet you want. I mean, this game, there is like tons and tons and tons of stuff to scavenge. I mean, like millions of pieces of stuff to scavenge in this game. And I remember you just on your way from point A to point B, we almost felt like you just wanted to scavenge every little room and every building that we came across.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
Yeah.
It's hard not to. Yeah, it's hard not to. Swing by a building or run by a building or something, or drive by it and like, wait, stop, and everybody wants to get out and go through the building, and it's hard. A game like that, it's hard not to scavenge for every little nook and cranny of a house.
Well, and you want to obviously, you can, as you said, you can construct new weapons and stuff like that using that stuff. But so you have certain things that you can open up, no problem. And then of course there's the lock picking. And I don't know about you guys, but I think this is one of the best lock picking systems there is.
It's similar to Skyrim.
Yeah, Skyrim and Fallout. I would say the tumbler system.
The tumbler system. Yeah.
But that's the thing is when you're playing Skyrim or Fallout, when you're picking a lock, you're not really worried about a zombie coming up behind you and attacking you.
Yeah. And you got to nod to these dudes about their sound, man. I think the sound in this game is incredible. If you got headphones on, even if you've got like surround sound and stuff, and you're sitting there trying to pick the lock on an ambulance that's on the side of the road, and you hear this stinking zombies snarling and growling, and they're just getting close. You just feel like they're right on your neck, and you're just panicking, trying to get this stupid door open as fast as you can.
and you're breaking picks.
And you're breaking the picks off. You're missing it and stuff. And it's just
getting teabagged by your teammates.
No one's helping you out whatsoever. They're just watching people come through. Actually, they throw firecrackers down by your feet to attract more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or Molotov cocktails.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like with like Dying Light that it was such a great game, like right from the start, but the whole mechanic of the parkour system, of that game, I felt like when you started it, like you said, you really struggled to get from point A to point B, but like it's so weird. It's such an incredible thing because the whole dynamic of the game changes when you get that grappling hook. Like
big time.
I mean, it's just so like the whole dynamic of the game just changes dramatically. It's awesome.
And it opens up. The world opens up too, right? Because you can now think to yourself, "Hey, I can actually get to places I didn't think I could get to before," and and quickly, more, a whole lot quicker than what you could. Maybe going at night time's not that big of a deal, not as big of a deal. Let's put it that way, because you have that thing, but. Yeah, I mean, the dynamics of this game from the sound, visually, I think it's a really good game. Visually, I think it looks really good. Some of the places you're going to go to, some of the things you're going to do. Jason and I we always talk about the bridge and having to go way up high on this bridge and change these light bulbs up on this bridge.
Might be the best moment in the game.
I mean, for people like me, I'm terrified of heights. It's been just one of my phobias I've had for a long time in my life. And some video games scare me to death because you're up there. And this is definitely one where you get up really high. And remember how like if your guy is like a little unbalanced, even your dude will like wobble. And just the fine small little things they did and put in this game.
To change that light bulb, you had to like lean out over the bridge.
Oh yeah.
Jesus, you're seeing the ocean and the rocks below you, and you're like, it's like vertigo or something.
Oh, it was awful. But just dynamically, the detail they put into this game, and not just for just a game, but for such a big game. The details they did, it's pretty impressive, man. I think. I mean, to me, it's almost as detailed, or if not just as detailed, as a Fallout game. Get a big open world and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'd say even more so in some aspects. When you just start going into into these caves that take you down under the ocean, and stuff. You find some cave down the rocks of the ocean, and next thing you know, you're underground somewhere, and it's it's the level design is excellent.
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, from side quest to main quest. I mean, there's just you're not going to run out of things to do. That's for sure. I mean, even some games you kind of feel like in open world games, you kind of feel like you get in that groove of being real grindy, and hey, take this here to there, take this there, drop off there, pick up this, like it just kind of feels grindy after a few hours into it, but I didn't really feel that with Dying Light. Some of the quests were, they wanted you to take a package here to point A to point B, but like just the way you could go about doing it and how it was never the same twice, or you never knew what you were going to run into. And
the airdrops.
And the airdrops. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
This is definitely one of those games that pulls you away from your objective very, very easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very easy.
Yeah, I remember the we would be just doing a mission, and then all of a sudden your controller shakes, and you hear this plane going over, and everybody starts looking to the skies, and you see some plane way far away off in the distance, and it drops something and a little parachute, and then everybody's on a run to go get the supplies.
Yep,
that was awesome.
It was, yeah. And that's the thing is like the crazy part is even if the game by yourself might feel maybe a little bit grindy, even if it does, we're talking about co-opable. And the thing is like, I never, ever, ever felt this game get grindy to me when I played with you guys.
Yeah.
Never. And matter of fact, if anything, time goes by fast, right? It's like we look up and it's 3 a.m. and it felt like we've only been playing for 40 minutes. And it's like, oh man, I got to get to bed. Oh my, gee, and you're just like, you could just keep going and going and going and going. It never, I agree with you, man. It never felt heavy or grindy to me ever.
Yeah.
And
that's rare. And that's rare for an open game,
yes.
An open world game like that, where, you don't like, it doesn't feel grindy or anything like that. It's such a rare thing to have in an open world game like that. And I mean, Dying Light did it perfectly, my goodness.
Yes. And that's why I was just talking with, Golf Doc on the last episode about Destiny. Is one of its big failures was it feeling repetitive and, feel like you're doing the same thing. Feel like you're doing the same thing over and over, and feel like you're battling the same, creatures and enemies or whatever over and over. And I know that the raids and all that stuff are real grinding it out and that kind of stuff. And to me, I guess at that point, it almost feels like work, and a game like Dying Light is like the complete opposite of that. It's just complete and utter joy and fun where you just don't want it to end. You just want to keep going and going and going. But they, obviously, like I said, there's never been a video game that really made me so anxious as this game has, where you're running from zombies and you're trying to, like in the early days, maybe not so much whenever you get, built up, your physical built up and you have the grappling gun or grappling hook and whatnot. But in the beginning, when you're trying to climb up on the side of a building or a dumpster and you just hear those zombies, like they're just like right behind you. You feel like they're going to grab your legs at any minute, and just like freaking out just to try to get up on top of that dumpster as fast as you can. I just never experienced something like that. I think the closest thing would maybe have been Left 4 Dead, and we've got this on here. Have to give a nod to Left 4 Dead, because that game was definitely Valve did an incredible job with a real spooky zombie multiplayer, co-op game, where you remember the witch, you'd hear the witch, crying in the background somewhere, and you're like, oh gosh, there's a witch up here, be careful. And then all of a sudden you'd hear her yell, and all of a sudden here comes a horde of like 40 come running through a door, and you're trying to run to get from. I definitely felt that on Left 4 Dead, no doubt. But for Left 4 Dead wasn't really a co-op, it wasn't really an open world game, obviously. You're trying to get from point A to point B to point C to point D. But man, this game, they just, the details are just stinking amazing. Just fantastic. No
I
doubt.
still remember one of my favorite parts in that game is the school, the abandoned school.
Yep.
Remember going in the school and going down to like the boiler room and
Yep.
have to turn your flashlight on. Man, that was eerie.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah. Another one is the apartment complex. You have to go.
Oh man. Oh man. That was. I was legitimately horrified. You know, like you said, Dying Light's definitely a game you want to get immersed in. You know,
Yes.
turn the lights off.
Yeah.
You know, put the
Yes.
headphones on, and you can tell them, Scott. I mean, you got a good view of it.
Yeah, we were searching because you have to go search room to room to room in this abandoned apartment building, and it's pitch black, and Ron and I are going room to room, and we get in. He gets in a room and he finds something. And his character just kind of just standing there because he's looking at either his menu or something, or just looking at whatever he's got. And I'm in the corner, and here comes just like 4 or 5 zombies, is like just dragging themselves into the room.
Oh man!
And they are like just right behind him, and I'm just sitting there just trying so hard not to say anything or laugh my butt off. And all of a sudden they just start, he just like turns around, they're just like boom right in his face. And it was pitch black. All he's got is his flashlight, so oh man, scary moment.
And I caught a shadow out of the corner of my eye, and I thought it was Scott. And I thought it was Scott just moving his way down the hallway. And like this, I'm in this big open room. I'm in the corner of it, and there's one way in, and these like 4 or 5 zombies have lurched their way in there.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I just
man.
turn around with my flashlight, and like there was nobody in the room. And then I turn around, like in the room is, crammed with zombies. And man, it terrified me to no end.
That was,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, it's scary just to even for me to just watch that. But, and
I
too,
slept with the night light on.
yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Me
You
both.
always sleep with a nightlight.
Yeah, but this time it was double on.
Yeah. Dude, they just, there's just lots of moments like that. I mean, lots of like really,
Well,
really spooky moments.
I think also like to add too, Scott, is you spent a lot of time, when you weren't playing the game, just looking online because of all the Easter eggs that they thrown into
Oh
this game.
yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, the Easter eggs that they have in here are really brilliant.
Excalibur.
Excalibur.
The Excalibur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Super Mario Brothers one where you go down in the pipe, the pipe that's in the chimney. I mean, the one where you go and get the airstrike. Remember how you had to go underwater and it's all the way down.
Oh yeah.
And like where a helicopter crashed or something. And
They did underwater in this really good too,
They did.
man. Where you'd be down there swimming, you have to
Yeah.
go through some like sewage pipe, and there'd be dead bodies floating in there,
Yeah.
and you're swimming past
Yeah.
them, and oh yeah, man.
And two,
Those
you're
are
like
excellent.
you're panicky too because you're starting to run out of breath, and you're like your character's going. You're like you feel like you're doing it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just incredible detail to this
How
game.
underrated is this game?
Yeah, big time.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah, big time underrated.
Yeah.
It's definitely
And,
a lot of
like
fun.
you said, the beginning of this game it is difficult. The movement is slow and stuff like that. But they had to do that because it gives you that sense of progression. As
absolutely.
you keep getting quicker and faster and more moves, and then hook shot. And
Yeah.
I think they nailed this game. I really do.
Well, and the thing is like, we've got on here, Dead Rising is another zombie game, and we've all played it. It is a lot of fun to play with people, but I think there is a moment where you're kind of like, I'm kind of done for tonight. I think I'll shut it off. Especially the Dead Rising, not the latest one, but the one before that. I don't remember which one that was. Dead Rising 3.
3, yeah.
Yeah. Because like there was parts where like you when you wanted to save, you actually had to go and find a restroom to save your spot.
No, that was kind of brutal
And
sometimes.
dude, that was incredibly brutal because you're like going through through the mall or whatever, and there's like a sea of zombies, and you're like, I have to get through all that just to go and save my game. a lot of fun. I'm not going to say that game wasn't fun. It was definitely a lot of fun. It was very, gimmicky, kind of a game, that's cool, but it is a lot of fun to go through. But as far as like, in my opinion, even the story of Dying Light is like excellent, all the way down to the final boss scene, with the high rise and the skyscraper and all that stuff. And then once again, another like paralyzing, level for people who are afraid of heights. The story was really, really good. You remember, Jason?
I thought it was kind of interesting how they, I don't know other games that really did this, but the way when we got to the final leg, you couldn't play it co-op. Nope. You had to do the final leg by yourself.
Yeah. And I think that was a really good move. No doubt.
It brought back to the story, so you could actually kind of have the story by yourself. And,
yes.
Make you the main character.
Right. Yeah. The spotlight's on you to do that. Do you remember that one story where you've helped this one kid out the whole time, right? Kind of a troubled kid. You've helped him out the whole time, and there's a part in the game that something happens to him, and I mean, man, it's kind of heavy. It's kind of a heavy moment.
Yeah.
And,
don't spoilers.
Well, I won't spoil it, but I mean,
I know the game's old, but man, that's a good moment.
Yeah, I mean, that was like a really heavy and great moment. I mean, of a story that because I've played a lot of stories that I'm kind of like, I'm lost, and I'm just like, I just move forward because I like the game. I like the gameplay. And I just move forward. I don't really know what's going on here. I've not read every email. I've not, blah, blah, like Prey right now. I'm still playing through Prey. And the story's okay. I wouldn't say the story is like super fantastic. The gameplay is fun. The environment's fun. But I don't really know every little thing that's going on in the story. But Dying Light, though, I was into it, man. I mean, I was really into it. I think they did a great job.
All the little notes that were strewn about and everything like that, and that you could pick up and read. And they had that. They actually did a promotion for the expansion, where you could submit a tweet of like your little note that you'd like to see in the game, and they pick so many people and put their letters into the game. But just little touches like that like Scott was saying, like I found myself like picking up those little letters and reading the letters, and it seemed like every person you came across in Dying Light, every NPC had an interesting story, how they ended up where they're at, and they had a little backstory or something, but they all had a lot of life to them. They weren't just like, I was born here at this farm,
right,
blah, blah, blah.
Right. Yeah, they definitely give it the human touch for sure. Mm-hmm. Like this is a tragedy that happened to people and stuff like that, and made it a little heavier. Which, I agree with you. It was a very good job all around.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the main game, but here we go. They come out with this DLC, called The Following, and the best money I've ever spent. Because not only does it extend what we already like, but they actually improve on that. How? I don't know, but they did. So now,
I know how.
Yeah. So now we have a car, all right?
Yeah.
And we're driving around. We have our own buggy, and that thing is that thing is a zombie killing machine. If you rank your car up like I did mine. And it's got an electric field around it, so it zaps all the zombies around here, or a flamethrower on it, or a big fat spike battering ram that nails through zombies you're driving. But once again, just a really cool story. Obviously,
huge map.
Oh yeah,
huge map.
Awesome
map. You can actually hunt the volatiles now, which is actually part of the story. Going to hunt their nests, which is like, it's suicide basically. Some of the places we had to go to these nests and stuff, and what we had to go through was like just incredible. Just incredible.
Yeah.
So much fun. But
you get outnumbered real quick.
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
there's fields and fields of zombies for
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go from Haran, where you're trying not to be out at night, and you come to the following, and you don't have any choice. You have to confront the volatiles. You have to go where they live, the nest. Of course, the one thing that we did that one time, which is probably what we should have done every time, is that at nighttime is the best time to invade the nest because they're not there. You know, they're out. The nests were typically in caves and stuff, real dark places, obviously. But at one time we actually went and we're like, man, this is awesome. There's hardly anybody in here. But the idea of doing that means you have to go out at night, sneak past all of them, get into their nest, and man, just wow. What crazy fun that was.
Yeah.
A lot of really, 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 really cool moments in this game. Once
I
again,
just say we start over.
yeah, no doubt, dude. I'm not kidding you. I would love to go back to Haran and start it all over with again. No doubt.
Yeah, I could.
Another
You speak.
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you speak of how you said the best money you spend. There was actually an edition out for the Dying Light following called My Apocalypse Collector's Edition, which cost around $380,000, and it was released on February 25th. But it included free parkour lessons, a custom shelter, night vision goggles, and a trip to Poland, all in that My Apocalypse Collector's Edition. That would set you back about $380,000. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was also
a bargain.
Yeah.
that was a bargain.
So what was your credit card number again there? Let me write that down.
Sure, yeah, 41
Niner. Yeah, Niner. Of course. Well, we haven't even talked about the Bozak Horde stuff either, right? I mean, it's a little mini game that comes with the DLC that you have to complete. It's kind of like Portal-ish, where you have challenges in a different level. Level 1, level 2, level 3, and you got to go through 10 levels? Is that right?
Yeah,
Isn't that right? That 10?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Believe so, yeah.
And you think to yourself, well, 10 levels, okay, whoop-de-doo. But yeah, you get on stuck on level 4, and you're thinking, how will we ever get past this? And that whole, feeling my butt is all puckered up because I'm scared to death. I mean, dude, I had that feeling nonstop on that horde mode, man.
Oh man,
because you're racing against time, and you got zombies all. I mean, it's crazy. That thing is stinking crazy. That was a lot of fun. It's hard, very difficult.
Hard. And I do believe that's still a diamond achievement for completing the Bozak challenge as well, just because the amount of so few people have completed that challenge. It's so hard. I mean, it's hard. It's almost impossible to do by yourself, and you think that it gets easier the more people you get in there. But if everybody's not running on full cylinders and somebody makes a mistake, then everybody pays.
Starts over.
Everybody pays for the mistake.
Yeah.
So, everybody's got to be playing up there.
If you have a time limit, it's not about who gets there first. Oh, well, one of our teammates got there and we're done. No.
Yeah.
No. And yeah, if one person goes down, it's bad news. That was man. And it's one of those horde modes too that I don't mind that I didn't finish, because I think we actually got to level 6 or 7 at one time. And I was like, that's good. I'm good. Because that was an achievement, man, doing that.
Yeah.
That was a stinking achievement for sure. But probably we have to say this before we take off here, but we definitely have to say this, is that if you're going to play with some friends and start this game and give it a whirl, try to get one of your friends who's really sleepy all the time, because man, if you can, that'll be the best freaking time of your life. I promise you right there. The three of us played with one of our friends, Mr. Brother Tub, and he's notoriously sleepy all the time.
Well,
Playing
after
video
10 o'clock,
games.
he just turns into a pumpkin. Right?
Yeah, I guess so. Watching his character
not a useful pumpkin either.
no, a rotten, hollowed out pumpkin.
Yeah.
Watching his character walk along a fence because he's just completely dead asleep over there is like hilarious. No doubt there'll be several clips being recorded.
And we have the Xbox record that to prove it.
He was doing that, and he was walking along that fence, and we were all standing back laughing at him, and we threw these Molotovs at him, and it caused him to go down, and like you just hear him he's been asleep for the past 5 minutes walking up against the fence, and his guy goes down, Detar Molotovs, and you just kind of hear him kind of mumble, he's, guys, I'm down over here. Zombies have got me or something.
Oh, sorry. That's too bad.
Yeah. Talking about this game.
I'll find that clip and post it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I have it.
Yeah, we'll have to put
make
that
sure
on
it
the site for sure. Yeah, man, talking about this game definitely makes me want to go back and play it, start over again. Ron, did you ever finish the DLC? Did you ever get to the end, the boss?
I did. Yeah.
What'd you think of the boss battle at the end?
I loved it.
Yeah, was it hard?
Great DLC. Well, not for me.
Listen. Let me just say this: anytime you are walking into a boss battle, and there are literally hundreds of health packs aligning the hallways going into this, you're in. That's not a good sign. This is bad news about to happen. Yeah. I thought that was a real creative boss, and she just killed me over and over and over until I figured out.
There was a couple sites that they gave that boss battle of the year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, until the light bulb goes off, you're like going, oh man, why didn't I think of that? But until that time, you're just dying over and over and over. You're like, how am I ever going to beat this? But so for you guys hearing this, I mean, the three of us played this game a lot, and it is probably one of my favorite all-time co-op games, I would have to say. Just a lot of fun. I thought, like I said, Dead Island, I thought it was really great. And man, this game comes out and even blows Dead Island away. And just like tipping my hat.
Yeah, if you missed it, definitely go back and play this game.
Definitely worth a look.
With friends.
It still looks great. It's a 2-year-old game, but it still looks great. It runs great.
Oh, yeah.
Story is really fun. But the environment, atmosphere with friends is a lot of fun, no doubt. But, well, we have come to the end of yet another episode. We'll be back for part 2 of Co-op-palooza. But until then, we again invite you to leave a comment. Your favorite co-op game the last couple of years on this episode's page on our website, which is batmancavepodcast.com. We'd love to hear what you got to say. And we'd also love for you to want to subscribe to the podcast. You can do that via the RSS feed on the site, or you can obviously do it through Google or iTunes. Appreciate you guys hanging out, and we will catch you next time.